Hello friends, and welcome back to Webronaq. Here is a question for you. You open a news article, a report, or a textbook, and right there in the middle of the page sits a chart. No long paragraph to guide you, just bars, lines, or a circle cut into slices. What do you do with it? Most people just glance at it and move on. But in this video, we are going to change that habit completely. Reading a chart is not about math. It is about understanding what a visual is designed to tell you, quickly, clearly, and in context. That is a real English comprehension skill, and it matters every time you read something in the real world. Up next, we will take a quick tour of the most common chart types and what each one is built to show. Alright, so before we read a chart, we need to know what kind of chart we are looking at, because each type is built for a different job. First, the bar chart. It uses rectangular bars to compare different groups or categories. For example, comparing the number of books read by students in 3 different classes. Next, the line chart. This one tracks change over time. Think of a line rising and falling to show how temperatures changed across 12 months. And then there is the pie chart. It shows how something is divided into parts. For example, what percentage of a city's population uses public transport? Same data, different stories. Depending on the chart type, you are being asked a completely different question. Next, we will look at the very first thing you should read on any chart, the title and the labels. Alright, before you look at a single number in a chart, read 3 things first: the title, the axis labels, and the legend. The title tells you the topic. Something like monthly website visitors immediately tells you what the whole chart is about. The axis labels tell you what is being measured and how. The bottom axis might say month, and the left axis might say number of visitors. Those 2 labels are your map. The legend explains what the colors or lines represent. For example, blue might mean desktop users, and orange might mean mobile users. Now here is the difference this makes. A vague response says, sales went up. A specific one says, the chart shows monthly sales from January to June. See how much richer that second sentence is? Once you have the title and labels locked in, you are ready to read the actual data, and that is exactly what we cover next. Alright, now that we have the title and labels, which we covered in the previous slide, it is time to actually read the data. Start with 3 simple questions. What is the highest value? What is the lowest value? And what sits somewhere in the middle? Look at the chart on screen. April has the tallest bar, so you would say the highest value is 80, recorded in April. January is the shortest. The lowest point reaches 20 in January. For the middle, try overall the values range from 20 to 80. These phrases work for almost any chart. Highest, lowest, and range. Those 3 words will carry you a long way. Once you can name the values confidently, the next step is spotting what they are doing over time, and that is exactly where we are heading next. Alright, now that we know how to read individual values, we covered that in the last slide, let's talk about movement. Trends are patterns that show how data changes over time. 2 questions help here. Is it going up or going down? And how fast? Precise language matters. Instead of saying the numbers go up, try sales increase steadily from January to March. Instead of it went down a lot, say returns dropped sharply in April. Words like steadily, gradually, sharply, and slightly tell your reader how fast the change happened. For comparisons, avoid they are different. Say sales outpaced returns throughout the year. That sentence gives a clear picture in just a few words. In the final slide, we will pull everything together with the key questions to ask any chart before you finish reading it. Alright, let's bring everything together. Reading a chart is not just about finding numbers. It is about understanding what those numbers mean. Every time you look at a chart or graph, ask yourself 3 questions. What exactly is this chart measuring? What trend or comparison stands out most clearly? And what is the source trying to highlight or maybe hide? We have covered how to read titles and labels, how to interpret axes and scales, how to understand different chart types, how to spot misleading visuals, and how to describe trends with precise language. The key takeaway is simple. Ask questions, read carefully, and think critically. A chart is an argument made with data. Your job is to understand that argument. Thank you for watching, friends. Keep reading, keep questioning, and we will see you in the next one.